Behind almost every serious crime, there is a money trail. Drug trafficking, ransomware attacks, terrorist financing, organized fraud. All of these activities ultimately rely on moving money. And in the digital age, that money increasingly moves through systems that did not exist a generation ago. Cryptocurrencies, decentralized exchanges, blockchain networks. Following the money has never been more important or more technologically demanding. Welcome to Chapter 12 of Crime Science, Financial Investigation Tools. In this chapter, we examine two transformative technologies that have reshaped financial investigations: blockchain analysis and anti-money laundering software, commonly known as AML software. Together, they form the analytical core of modern financial crime detection. We begin with blockchain. To understand why blockchain analysis has become so important, we have to understand what a blockchain actually is. A blockchain is a digital, immutable ledger distributed across a network of interconnected computers. Each block in the chain records a series of transactions. Once added, these blocks cannot easily be modified. Every block is cryptographically linked to the one before it, so altering a single transaction would require modifying every subsequent block in the chain, unlike traditional banking systems, which are managed by centralized institutions. Blockchains are decentralized. There is no single authority. Instead, the network itself maintains the integrity of the record, distributing it across thousands of nodes worldwide. This decentralization is what makes blockchain tamper-resistant, and it is the technology that underlies cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and Litecoin. Cryptocurrencies have legitimate uses: fast cross-border payments, financial inclusion in underbanked regions, programmable smart contracts, and emerging applications in supply chain management, voting systems, and contracts. And emerging applications in supply chain management, voting systems, and contracts. But the same features that make cryptocurrencies attractive for legitimate use also make them attractive to criminals: pseudonymity, speed, border-crossing capability, independence from traditional banks. Criminals have leveraged blockchain technology for a wide range of illicit activities: drug trafficking, ransomware, tax evasion, dark web marketplaces, and fraud. The Silk Road case is one of the most well-known examples. Operating on the dark web, Silk Road facilitated the anonymous trade of illegal narcotics, with Bitcoin as the predominant currency. The investigation that brought it down relied heavily on advanced blockchain analysis to track Bitcoin transactions and identify the individuals behind the operation. Ransomware attacks have followed a similar pattern. Attackers encrypt the victim's files and demand payment in cryptocurrency, typically Bitcoin, in exchange for the decryption key. The cryptocurrency component lets perpetrators receive payments while obscuring their identities and operating across international borders. This is where blockchain analysis becomes essential. Although blockchain transactions are described as pseudonymous rather than truly anonymous, every transaction is publicly recorded and linked to a cryptographic address. That pseudonymity can be unraveled through several specialized techniques. The first is transaction tracing. Investigators follow the flow of cryptocurrency from one address to the next, across multiple wallets, through exchanges, and ultimately to its destination. Even when criminals attempt to obscure their tracks, the public nature of the blockchain creates a permanent record that investigators can follow. The second is address clustering, or address linkage analysis. Criminals often use multiple cryptocurrency addresses to obscure their activities, but those addresses can be linked through patterns of shared input ownership and transaction behavior. Once investigators connect multiple addresses to a single entity, the pattern of fund movement becomes clearer, and the criminal network behind it begins to emerge. The third is heuristic analysis. Algorithms scan blockchain transactions for suspicious patterns, large transactions broken into smaller pieces, sudden spikes in activity, the use of mixing services that exist primarily to obscure the source of funds. These heuristics flag transactions that warrant deeper investigation. The fourth is data visualization. Heat maps, network graphs, and interactive dashboards transform raw blockchain data into visual representations that human investigators can quickly interpret. A complex web of transactions becomes a mappable network of relationships. Increasingly, machine learning and artificial intelligence are augmenting these techniques. AI systems can be trained to recognize patterns associated with ransomware operations, dark web marketplaces, and fraudulent token offerings. Natural language processing extends this capability to forum discussions and online chatter, helping investigators understand the human networks behind blockchain transactions. The 2017 takedown of Alphabay illustrates the impact. Alphabay was a major dark web marketplace facilitating the illegal trade of narcotics, firearms, and stolen data. Through coordinated action by the FBI, Europol, and international partners, and through the application of blockchain analysis techniques, law enforcement identified and apprehended the operator, dismantled the marketplace, and seized substantial cryptocurrency assets. Yet blockchain investigations also raise serious legal and ethical questions. Blockchain transactions are pseudonymous, but that pseudonymity is exactly what enables both legitimate financial privacy and the protection of vulnerable users. The traceability that helps investigators also creates the potential for surveillance of ordinary financial activity. Nations around the world are still developing the legal frameworks needed to balance crime prevention with the protection of financial privacy and civil liberties. The challenge is intensifying. Privacy-focused cryptocurrencies, Monero, Zcash, and others use advanced cryptographic techniques like zero-knowledge proofs to make transactions far harder to trace. As criminals adopt these tools, blockchain analysis must continue to evolve, developing new methodologies to keep pace. Second pillar of modern financial investigation is AML software, the automated systems financial institutions use to detect money laundering. To understand AML software, we have to understand the process it is designed to detect. Money laundering follows a three-stage pattern. The first stage is placement, introducing illegally obtained funds into the financial system, often through cash deposits, asset purchases, or cross-border transfers. The second stage is layering, moving funds through multiple accounts, investments, and institutions to obscure the trail. The third stage is integration, reintroducing the now disguised money back into the legitimate economy in a form that appears clean. AML software is the technological backbone of efforts to disrupt this process. It analyzes transaction data through predefined rules, statistical algorithms, and increasingly machine learning models to identify patterns suggestive of money laundering. AML software performs several critical functions. It monitors transactions in real time, flagging unusual patterns, large cash deposits, frequent international transfers, rapid movement of funds across accounts. It supports customer due diligence, helping financial institutions verify identities and assess risk profiles with particular attention to politically exposed persons and clients from high-risk jurisdictions. It generates alerts when suspicious patterns appear, prompting compliance officers to investigate further and report findings to regulatory authorities. And it conducts sanctions screening, validating customer identities and transactions against government watch lists in real time. A robust regulatory framework underpins this work. The USA Patriot Act, the Bank Secrecy Act, the Financial Action Task Force recommendations, the European Union Anti-Money Laundering Directive, and the United Kingdom's Proceeds of Crime Act established the standards financial institutions must meet to maintain effective AML programs. Modern AML software increasingly relies on machine learning. Anomaly detection algorithms identify transactions that deviate from established norms. Pattern recognition models learn the signatures of evolving money laundering techniques. Predictive analytics use historical data to anticipate future risks. As criminal techniques evolve, so must the detection systems. And machine learning enables AML software to adapt continuously rather than relying on static rules that quickly become outdated. But implementing AML software is not without significant challenges. The first is cost. Software acquisition, customization, integration with existing systems, and ongoing maintenance requires substantial investment. The second is data quality. AML software is only as effective as the data feeding into it. Poor data integration, inconsistent reporting, and gaps in transaction records all degrade detection performance. The third is false positives. Aggressive detection thresholds generate large volumes of alerts that turn out to be legitimate transactions. Each false positive consumes investigator time and resources. Calibrating systems to minimize false positives without missing genuine threats is one of the most persistent challenges in AML. The fourth is the moving target. Criminal organizations continually adapt their methods, developing new techniques to evade detection, sophisticated mixing services, decentralized exchanges, structured transactions, the use of privacy coins. AML software must continually evolve to keep pace. Regulatory compliance adds another layer of complexity. Financial institutions face significant penalties for failures to detect and report suspicious activity. AML software helps automate compliance, generating accurate reports for regulators, maintaining comprehensive audit trails, and supporting due diligence at scale. But the regulatory landscape itself shifts continually, requiring constant updates to software, policies, and procedures. Together, blockchain analysis and AML software represent a powerful combined approach to modern financial investigation. Blockchain analysis follows criminal money through decentralized cryptocurrency networks. AML software detects illicit activity within the traditional financial system, where the two intersect at exchanges, payment processors, and the boundary between cryptocurrency and fiat. Most sophisticated investigations now operate. The future of financial investigation tools depends on continued innovation paired with continued vigilance. Criminals will not stop adapting. Privacy concerns will not disappear. Regulations will continue to evolve. And the technologies that detect financial crimes will need to grow in sophistication, accuracy, and ethical accountability, operating within frameworks that protect both public security and individual privacy. Next chapter, we move from the financial systems criminals exploit to the integrated picture of all the technologies we have examined as we explore.